Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class. In the previous class, we have completed our discussion regarding the center state relationship, and we have started the spatial provisions, which is the last segment of the chapter. And in this segment, we have discussed that the in Indian federal arrangement, our constitution has given some special status to some states. And in this regard, we have seen that Rajya Sabha, which is considered to be the representative body of the states, in the Rajya Sabha, all the states are not having equal membership. The membership of the states is according to their population. So, if we see on that basis also, the constitution has not made provision on the basis of equality, but according to the population, their representation was determined. Then, other than that, what we see that the constitution has made provision for division of power and which is common to all states. But what we see that our constitution has made some special provision for some states, and this special provision has been done for those states which are having some uh, distinctiveness, which have some distinctive culture or history or social structure, like the northeastern states of India, Assam, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, all these are given special status under Article 371. And the reason behind this is that these states are having a large number of tribal population. And because of this tribal population, their culture is different, their history is different. So, in order to in order to preserve their culture, in order to preserve their history, they need some special status. Other than this, many other states also like Himachal Pradesh, Andhra, Goa, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Sikkim, Telangana, all have been given some special status. Now today we will discuss the special status which was given to Jammu and Kashmir. At present, what we see that the special status which was given under Article 370 to the state of Jammu Kashmir, that has been scrapped. Now the Jammu and Kashmir state is not having any special status. The government of India has revoked the special status which was granted under Article 370 of the Indian Constitution to Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, and now what we see that our government has the Home Minister actually has introduced a reorganization bill in the Indian Parliament, and in this reorganization bill there was provision to divide the state of Jammu Kashmir into two union territories, and these two union territories will be uh, Jammu and Ladakh, and these union territories will be governed by lieutenant governor, and there will be a single unicameral legislature. That is, there will be only one house in the state legislature, that is legislative assembly. And this resolution was passed by the Rajya Sabha on 5th of August last year. It was done on uh, in August 2019. On 5th of August 2019, the bill was passed by the Lok Sabha and by the Rajya Sabha, and the Lok Sabha passed this bill on 6th August. And then this special status which was given to Jammu and Kashmir has been scrapped. Article 370 has been scrapped and it came into effect from October 2019. But before this reorganization bill, before this the commencement of this reorganization bill, the Jammu and Kashmir state was given a special status. And though now Article 370 has been removed from the Constitution, still we must know what was Article 370 and how special status was given to the state of Jammu Kashmir. What was the reason behind giving this special status to Jammu and Kashmir, and what was the controversy regarding this special status, or we can say what was the impact of giving the special status to the state of Jammu Kashmir. So first of all, we must know the background. As I told you, when India became independent, there was two parts in India. One was the British provinces and the other was the princely states. And Jammu and Kashmir was a princely state which was ruled by the king. And when the Act of Independence of India 1947 came into effect, it was provided in the Act that the princely states have three options. Either they can join India or Pakistan, or they have the option to remain independent also. So what happened that when the country became independent, this princely state of Jammu and Kashmir was under the rule of a Hindu king. The problem, you must understand the problem, how this problem created. The king was Hindu, but the people were mostly Muslim. Majority population which was living in Jammu and Kashmir at that time was Muslim. And what happened immediately after independence? There was a war. Of course, this war was started by Pakistan only, but there was a war between India and Pakistan over Kashmir, because Pakistan uh, wanted to integrate Kashmir with uh, its own country. And when the war broke out between the two countries, the Maharaja of Kashmir became fearful, and in order to ensure the safety of the state from the Pakistani aggression, he signed on the he acceded to the Indian Union. He accepted that he will join the Union of India. So this was the circumstance. King was Hindu, people were majority of the people were Muslim. War broke out between India and Pakistan over Kashmir, and there was fear. Then there was insecurity in the mind of the Maharaja of Kashmir, and in order to ensure the safety of its region, he decided to join India. And this was the circumstances, and in this circumstance, uh, whatever negotiation was done between the Maharaja of Kashmir and our national leaders, it was decided that Kashmir will become a part of India, but it will be given greater autonomy by the constitution. We can say that that was a type of condition in order to get merged into India. So it was This assurance was given by our national leaders that greater autonomy will be given to the state of Jammu and Kashmir by the Indian Constitution, and accordingly this article 370 has been uh, added in the Constitution. And now what is this article 370? The important thing about article 370 is the concurrence of the state is required for making any laws in matters mentioned in the union and concurrent list. What happens in all other states? This division of power, which is given in the constitution, automatically applies. Automatically, all the union subjects which are in the union list will be enacted by the central parliament, and that will be executed in the states also. And the subjects which are there in the concurrent list, on this subject both the state and the union has the right to make law. So all this are applies automatically in other states. But for Jammu and Kashmir, what was required? The concurrence of the state. Without the consent of the state, any law which is made for the subjects which are mentioned in the union and concurrent list will not be applicable in the state if the state is not giving its consent. Okay, so this is article 370. The consent of the state is required for making any law on the subjects which are mentioned in the union and concurrent list. So we see that in case of Jammu Kashmir, our central government has limited powers. It is not having it's not like that ki all the subjects which are listed in the union list and concurrent list, the union government has the right to make laws on these list, and it will be applied in the state. No, in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, it can be used only with the consent of the state government. This gives the state of Jammu Kashmir a greater autonomy. So this is the provision of the constitution. Now what we see that in practice, this autonomy of Jammu and Kashmir is not a major issue, because we see that our constitution also provides that the president with the concurrence of the state government will specify which parts of the union list shall apply to the state. This is also one of the provision of the article 370. Okay, there is a constitutional provision that allows the president with the concurrence of the state government to specify which parts of union list shall apply to the state. So president with state government will determine, okay, which part of the union list shall apply to the state. But in practice, what we find that the president has issued 2 constitutional orders, and these constitutional orders has been issued by the president in concurrence with the state government, and these 2 constitutional orders made large part of the constitution applicable to the state. So we see that this is the practice, this is in the constitution, but what we find in practice that the president has issued 2 constitutional orders with the consent of the state government, and through these constitutional orders large part of the constitution is applicable in the state. So there was not any kind of mm, mm, we can't say that the state was totally autonomous and the provisions of the constitution was not applying in the state. That was not the case. The Jammu and Kashmir has a separate constitution. This separate constitution is mentioned in Article 370. That is, Article 370 is the separate was the separate constitution and of Jammu and Kashmir. The Jammu and Kashmir state has a flag also, and the parliament power to make laws on subjects in the union list is acceptable. So इट सीम्स ऐसा लगता है कि ये बहुत इसको ऑटोनॉमी दी गई थी, बट एक्चुअली हम क्या देख रहे हैं कि पार्लियामेंट का जो पावर है यूनियन लिस्ट पे लॉज बनाने के, वो पूरी तरह से वहां पर एप्लीकेबल था. ओके, सो देयर वाज नॉट मच ऑटोनॉमी इन प्रैक्टिस. Then we see the remaining differences between the other states and the state of Jammu and Kashmir are that no emergency due to internal disturbance can be declared in Jammu and Kashmir without the concurrence of the state. So there is a provision in Article 352 that because of internal disturbance, national emergency can be imposed in the country, but it cannot be imposed in the state of Jammu and Kashmir without the concurrence of the state. So this is also one of the special status which was given to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. No emergency due to internal disturbance can be declared in J&K without the concurrence of the state. The union government cannot impose a financial emergency. Article 360 provides for financial emergency, but this financial emergency cannot be imposed in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. And moreover, directive principles of state policy is also not applicable in Jammu and Kashmir. You have read about this directive principle of state policy, which are the guidelines for the government. When the government is going to formulate any policy, it must keep these guidelines in mind. And there is no legal authority behind these directive principles. There is only moral authority against the directive principles of state policy. So, this directive principle is not to be applied in Jammu and Kashmir. And one more provision is there, that is amendment. Amendment to the Indian Constitution can only apply in concurrence with the government of Jammu and Kashmir. If we want to amend the Constitution under Article 368, then this amendment will apply in the state only with the consent of the state. So, these are the special status, and we see that there were many people who were against this special status. They were of the view that this kind of special status should not be given to any of the states. They should be treated equally. There should be equal division of power. Then only a federation will work properly. So this Article 370 was cause of great controversy and debate in the Indian politics, and it was in the manifesto of this Bharatiya Janata Party that the scrapping of Article 370. So when it came into power and it has majority in the Lok Sabha, it has a very good majority in the Lok Sabha. So it scrapped the Article 370, and the arguments which were presented for the scrapping of this bill, for scrapping of this article was that the if there will be no Article 370, then it will enable the people of the Jammu and Kashmir to access government programs like reservation, right to education, right to information. Because under Article 370, the people of the state were not accessible to these government programs. So it was argued that with the scrapping of Article 370, there will be huge economic growth can be done in the valley. So these are the arguments for scrapping of the Article 370. Now we will see the conclusion. Federalism is like a rainbow where each color is separate, yet together they make a harmonious pattern. So we see in a rainbow, 7 colors are there. Each color has its own entity, has its own existence. But when they come together, they make a unit. They make a harmonious pattern. Just like that, federalism is also a rainbow where all the states, all the units have their own identity. But when they are under federal structure, there must be a feeling of unity. Federalism has to continuously maintain a difficult balance between the center and the state. In all federalism, this type of conflict arose. It's not anything unique to the Indian federalism. In some federalism, center is strong. In some federalism, states are strong. So it is a continuous effort to maintain a balance between the center and the state. No legal or institutional formula can guarantee the smooth functioning of a federal polity. Whatever legal provisions are done, whatever constitutional provisions are done, whatever institutions are set up, still we cannot think of a smooth functioning of a federal polity. The federal polity will function smoothly only when the people and the political process has developed in such a way that it is facilitating the federal structure. The people and the political process has started a culture. It gave rise to values and virtues like mutual trust, tolerance, and a spirit of cooperation. Then only the federalism can work in a smooth manner. So federalism has both the things. It celebrates unity as well as diversity. Unity for the security of the country, for the integrity of the country, it is important. Diversity for giving recognition to different linguistic groups, to different cultural groups, to different religious groups. So we cannot think of that the national unity, we can achieve national unity by crushing the diversity. No, if we crush the diversity, if we discourage the diversity, then in that case it will lead to dissatisfaction, and this dissatisfaction will lead to can lead to disintegration of the country. So there is no need to unite the people in forcible manner. The forced unity only generates greater social strife. It will lead to struggle. It will lead to conflict, and it will destroy the unity of the country. So a responsive polity sensitive to diversities and to the demands for autonomy can alone be the basis of a cooperative federation. So what is the requirement? The requirement is to be sensitive to diversity, recognize the diversity, promote the diversity, and be sensitive to the demands of autonomy. And if a federal structure is working like this, then it will become a cooperative federation. So this is all about our chapter. Now we will discuss some of the cartoons. So in this cartoon you can see that there is a conflict between the Hindi speaking states and the non-Hindi speaking states. You can see that there was a feeling that the Hindi speaking states are dominating. There is a domination of the Hindi speaking areas over the other. So in this picture you can see this the man on whose back four leaders of Hindi speaking region are sitting. Uh, this man, this man is depicting, he is symbolizing the non-Hindi speaking state. So this is the domination which was there at the time of independence, and uh, we know that our national leaders were very sensitive regarding the linguistic diversity of the country, and so uh, mm, they did not give the status of national language to Hindi. And in this picture, we see that Nehru is appealing to the Hindi speaking provinces to show greater tolerance towards others. So, this is the attitude of our leaders, that they were not in favor of imposing Hindi on the non-Hindi people. So, this is the appeal which was done by the then Prime Minister Pandit Nehru. And now in another picture we can see that this is regarding the appointment of the governor. So what happens that many times many ministers are appointed as governors, and in this way you can see how in the cartoon it has been depicted that the prime minister is kicking the um, ministers to upstairs and appointing them as governors, but they are not willing to be appointed as governor because the ministerial post has more power than the governor. Governor is only ornamental head, and this picture is also depicting that in the appointment of the governor, it is only the uh, desire of the prime minister which is taken into consideration. The prime minister unilaterally appoints the governor. So, in this way, he becomes the agent of the central government. Now, in the next page, there is one more cartoon. This is also regarding the appointment of the governor, and in this, we see how the governor plays an important role in toppling the state government. And in order to topple the state government, what is required? That the governor must belong to the party which is ruling at the center. So, by what happens many times, it happens whenever there is a change of government at the center, then the new government, which the new government starts dismissing the governors who are appointed by the previous government, and they make fresh appointments so that they can place those people as governor who are their people who are belonging to their party. Now this is also a cartoon in which we can see this is Pandit Nehru, Prime Minister, and these all are demands of the people for the formation of states, um, mostly on the basis of language. So this demand is never ending. Always there is such type of demand that the new state must be created on the basis of language. So it is very difficult to mm, manage these demands. So we can see the condition of the prime minister. And that's all. This is all about our chapter. And now we will, in the next class, we will start a new chapter.